welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Always my pleasure and my honor to welcome you here into the Heritage Hill Studios. Heritage Hill Brew House, our exclusive studio partner. You'll find the brew house by going out to 3149 Sweet Road in Pompey, and also partnered up with Heritage Hill at Heritage Hill North, their newest location on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, right by Syracuse Hancock International Airport. So here inside of this Friday edition of Wake Up Call, inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', we'll of course bring you our trio of signature segments that we always do on Friday. The Annoying Moment of the Week, presented by Carvel DeWitt. Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. And our Top Dog of the Week will be announced, proudly presented by Canine Kamp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. But flipping the script here this morning, we're going to start off the broadcast with Leo Rautins. Leo Rautins joining us, a TV analyst for the Raptors for TSN as well as NBA TV Canada, here to talk with us about the Raptors moving forward and that WNBA franchise coming to Toronto. And we have picture-in-picture this morning the opportunity to speak with Leo. I was down in Florida here recently. He's down in Florida now. So, Mr. Rautins, how are we doing this morning?
I'm great, Dan. How about you?
I'm doing very well, and I know that you get to live in both worlds when it comes to, you know, being up in Toronto and down in Florida, and I'm kind of living a very similar one when it comes to Syracuse in Florida. So what's it like down there right now? I know you'll probably not describe it the same as you did off the air, but what's it like down there?
It's hot. It's hot, but I love it. I mean, when everybody complains about it being too hot, I'm happy. It's perfect for me. So with everything my body's been through, the hotter the better. So I love it.
Yeah, you know, and like you said, I mean, that the heat, it's somewhat healing down there as well. So you can definitely get a feel for that. You got some time to go down there. Anything special that you're doing? And I do have to ask this, are you one of the crazy people that will go out and golf in this weather, or is it like you'll golf at 6 a.m.?
No, I will not golf, period. After all my back surgeries, there's no need to golf. It's not going to help me. It's not going to do anything good for me. So I'm a beach guy.
Okay.
I go to the beach with my dogs. I love to be outside in Florida, by the pool, by the beach, whatever the case may be, and patios, by the water, dinner, things like that. That's what I love about Florida. So that's what I'm doing, and I have a few other things, obviously. Still working to some degree remote, and some business ventures here in Florida. But basically, this is my off season, so I'm trying to really enjoy it.
Yeah, you know, and obviously important to have that time to yourself. And this off season, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing in recent history with the Toronto Raptors. There are some that believe that this is a full rebuild. I'd love to get your thoughts on this, as there was the team that won in 2019, and then the making the playoffs, but being in this, some people called it the purgatory of getting to the postseason, but not getting very far in the postseason. And the question becomes, do you have the pieces that you have, and then you take a few more pieces, bring them in, and see if you can make a run? Or do you let go of the pieces that you have and build a new chapter for your team? So how would you describe the current chapter of the Toronto Raptors?
I wouldn't call it a total rebuild. Total rebuilds are not good for the fans, not good for anybody. I mean, your players learn how to lose. Your fans don't like losing, especially after you've been a champion. So rebuilds, to me, are not good. There's a lot of tweaking, that's for darn sure. I mean, and what's happened is I think there was a tease for a while. Post-championship, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet. You brought in Scotty Barnes, high draft pick, and who's somebody you pretty much said, this is our guy. Okay, Scotty's our guy. But he's youth. He's young. He's still a baby in NBA, in the NBA world, and not traditional in terms of a franchise guy. When you think of franchise guys, you think of guys that can get you 30, right? That's not what Scotty is. So Scotty's learning the NBA, learning he can be a scorer, but he's not that 30 guy, but he's still developing and growing into that role of being the franchise guy. And I think there was a tease for a while that, okay, OG and Pascal and Fred showed enough that, sorry, just picking up my dog here, showed enough that you got to, this could be really good. This could be really good, but it never. They tried it and it tried it for too long. It just you had to change. So Pascal obviously got shipped away, and OG went to New York, and they got some good pieces in return. Good role pieces, good rotation pieces. They had a good draft pick in Grady Dick. He really shoot the basketball. I think he could be a long-time NBA player and really good shooter. Scotty's development is going to be critical to find out what happens in the future with this team. And they got some draft picks, a couple of late first rounders coming up, and now and then you got to test the free agent market, see what's out there. So it's not a total rebuild. This team had a lot of injuries last season, and again, part of that is injuries. Part of that is okay. We're not going to do anything this season. We made our trades. Let's see if we can get a top pick. All right. So they didn't end up getting a top 6 pick, which they had hoped that could happen, but. Nevertheless, now it's time to move forward and start to see what you can build with the group you have, and again, any additions you can bring in.
Yeah, you spoke about having the opportunity to draft in the first round, and Toronto is notorious over the years of giving up some of that capital, knowing that they have it this year, and we very soon are going to find out who that's going to be. And obviously, Grady Dick recently, and you mentioned Scotty Barnes. What would be a key component piece? I know that the draft is going to do what the draft does, so it's hard to select an exact name. But is there anyone that comes to mind, or a certain position that you kind of look to say, if they're going to build toward the future, I would like a little bit of an emphasis here? Is there something in that first round that you can kind of pinpoint?
No, not from. First of all, people are saying this is not a great draft. Okay. Now, every draft has players that will become great players.
Right.
Whether it be a first rounder or a late second rounder even, or you've seen that historically in the league. So this is the kind of draft where you better do your homework. You got to do your research. You got to have luck, obviously, with any pick. You got to have luck. I think when you're in a Raptors situation right now, you want the best available talent. All right. So who's the best, whether it's a big, a guard, a wing, the best available talent that fits what you want to try to do at that pick, that's what you grab. And then you work from that. You can always trade, you can always move up, you can always move down, you could move your pick once you got it, whatever the case may be. But I think you want to get the best available when you're in a Raptors situation right now, because the big thing when you're tweaking and you're trying to build up your squad is you need bodies, you need available bodies, you need talented players, you have to have depth, and I think the Raptors have a pretty good, 6-7 guys, a decent group that if you can augment with a good pick, a free agent or two, you're gonna be competitive. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I wouldn't want to speculate on who that might be, simply because it's best available when they pick.
Yeah, and like you spoke about, there is talent there, and you want to get that best available piece that's going to provide you quality points. You said that you wouldn't call this a full rebuild. You said that's not good for the fans. The players learn how to lose, and so on and so forth. How did you see the fans respond to this season, which obviously, it felt different. That's not a surprise. But how did you see the fan base? You and I have talked about how passionate they are. So how would you describe them this season?
The fans are great. I mean, you talk to the players that played, they could not believe how positive the fans were in light of everything that was going on. And the fans understood, okay, once Scotty Barnes got hurt, because there was a shot to say, okay, let's go for the play-in, right? Let's go for the play-in. When Scotty Barnes got hurt, you knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And at that point, okay, let's go for the pick. And the fans understood that. And I think the fans were behind it. Like, you're not going to win, so you might as well maybe you get lucky in the draft. So, like I said, every player that comes in, the guys that came in from New York, everybody says they just can't believe the fan base. And I think the fan base got a little frustrated the last couple of seasons because of the expected play with OG, Pascal, and Scotty. They didn't get it. And then I think they were a little frustrated that moves may not have been made sooner. But once the moves were made and once they saw the situation where they were, the fans, I think, responded tremendously. And that's why Toronto's such a great market. People love their hoops. They love their Raptors. And, basketball is going to be strong there for a long, long time.
Yeah, and you and I spoke about years ago the misconception of Toronto and being the only team that is outside of the continental United States. There was this notion of, oh, that's a hockey town. Nobody's watching the games, and you and I spoke about the fan base and where they were as far as being in the top half of the NBA when it came to showing up. We know that not only do they go into the arena, but Jurassic Park is Jurassic Park for a reason. Spending so many years in Toronto, Leo, for you, being around this fan base, being around this environment, you played in college, you played professionally, you had the opportunity to really get a feel for what it's like to be a player and travel, and then you have spent so much time professionally in the world of being an analyst, and a lot of this coming with the Toronto Raptors. What is that environment to someone who doesn't know? Of all the places you've seen and everywhere you've been, what is the environment of Jurassic Park? What is the environment of walking into that arena for a home game?
Well, I mean, it could be freezing, sleet, rain, whatever, and you're gonna have, you could have 10,000 people outside on a big game, watching it on the screen and just wanting to be there because they can't get in. The arena sold out every game. I mean, great crowds every single game, and it's a great city. I mean, Toronto is a world-class city, so
Yeah.
players love the city. It's a multi-ethnic, multicultural. Very cosmopolitan, upscale city, and players love being there. Players, feel comfortable. Players feel like the city embraces them, and it's not. And a lot of cities where you're embraced, but you're hounded. You can't live your life. Toronto is a big enough city. It's like a New York that you can get lost in the city. You can have space in the city. You can be free and do your thing, and fans respect that. So I mean, it's one of the best environments. I mean, throughout the years, LeBron James. Remember, the Raptors were battling Cleveland,
Yeah.
saying this is one of the best arenas. This is one of the best crowds in the NBA, and you hear that all the time. Visiting players and say this is amazing. They're more than just loving the city, but Toronto's great. It's an unbelievable market. And I remember when the Raptors came into being, a lot of people thought maybe like Vancouver, it's not going to last.
Yeah.
But in my mind, not a chance. It was here to stay from day one. Toronto's and the impact of the NBA has been incredible. The Paris Olympics are coming up, and Canada has the most NBA players in the NBA outside of the United States. Their Olympic team will be an NBA roster, and rotational. You're going to have MVP candidates. You're going to have all stars. You're going to have leading scorers. You're going to have everything on that team. It's the NBA has grown the game tremendously. Canada, Toronto are always going to be a hockey place, right? There's no question about that. But basketball arguably is the most participated sport in the country.
Yeah.
Boys, girls, and the popularity is incredible because, like I said, hockey is a very different sport culturally. With Toronto being a multi-ethnic city, people are from everywhere. You walk down the streets of Yonge Street in downtown Toronto, you hear every language, you see every color, and I think the NBA embraces that, and that crowd embraces the NBA. So it's a great relationship. It's fun to see. It's a great thing to be a part of.
That coming here from Leo Rautins on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora this morning inside of the Heritage Hill Studios with the Raptors TV Analyst for TSN and NBA TV Canada. Perfect segue of everything you were talking about with Toronto, Ontario, Canada, is that they're getting a WNBA franchise, and speaking to a lot of the points that you just made. So I don't want to echo that here in the chamber here, but to go a little bit farther, when you hear about the potential for a WNBA franchise, the 14th franchise in the WNBA, and then it's not just something you hear about, it's not just a rumor, but it's a reality. 2026 WNBA coming to Toronto. Just what you can tell us about that, and to kind of, I guess, expand on the point of, if this is such a ripe area for basketball and Canada itself has so much talent, like you said, that now here's the opportunity for Toronto to show their love expanded, as the city is going to have another franchise and their first ever WNBA franchise.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is great. Obviously, the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, all those things that are happening there is at a high point as far as exposure, interest, people coming to games, people watching on TV. A lot has changed. And that's great, because the WNBA needed that. They needed that shot in the arm. They needed the revenue. They needed more. And expansion, I think, coming into Toronto. As I said, Toronto's a great market. Toronto can support and any exhibition games that have been played in Canada, not just Toronto, have all sold out right away. I work on TSN. One of my co-analysts during the winter is Kia Nurse, who's playing for the Los Angeles Sparks. Had a great career at Connecticut, national champion. And talking to Kia, it's incredible the interest that she's seen and experiences in Toronto. Same thing, the women's national team in Canada has been an Olympic team. They've had great success. And the women's game is growing just as fast and just as big as the men's game in Canada. So I think it's a great time. It's a great time to bring in the WNBA. A lot of people thought it should have been sooner, but it's a nice time to come in when you see so many changes happening within the league itself. That, again, we're long overdue, and with the interest being at a high point, to introduce another team in another country is perfect.
Any rumors, rumblings about names?
Names as in
For the franchise?
No, I mean, hey, I think that obviously you don't do it just to do it, but if you can, obviously it's good to have some Canadian flavor on the team, and without a doubt, I'm sure you will, because there's a significant amount of Canadian talent in the WNBA and will be in the WNBA and in college basketball. So that's always a great selling point. But hey, they're gonna do their work. They're gonna have to do their work, and obviously, when you come in as an expansion team, you're gonna take your licks as well. But I have no doubt that they're gonna put together on the heels of what the Raptors did and how they built their franchise. They're gonna put together a solid team, and again, it's gonna be in Toronto and in the WNBA for a long time to come.
And when it comes to the nickname for this team, any ideas, any thoughts, anything that you're hearing?
Hey, there's a lot of conversations, and I think they're going to put something out there for the fans to be a part of it, possibly to put their votes in and see what they come up with. It's, hey, who knows? I mean, it's colors and nickname and all that. That's part of the excitement of having a new team and getting the fans involved and all that.
Yeah, I mean, they could call them the Toronto Blues and use Blue the Raptor.
I think, see, Blues has a hockey connotation.
That's true.
In the history of Toronto. So I think they want to get away from quite frankly, male dominated sport nicknames, do their own thing, and so they should.
Yeah, I think Golden State with being called the Valkyries is really cool and really interesting and unique. So I'm looking forward to what Toronto's doing. You've been there forever, though. Leo. I mean, I feel like you should be at least at the table with a 1% vote.
Well, I didn't get a vote on the Raptor, so I don't think I'm going to get a vote on the WNBA either. So that's all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Raptor has stuck, and it's stuck pretty well. I do want to ask you this because I've been a Raptor fan since day zero, and I think the logo was originally released in 1994 before the team came out in '95. There's been different iterations of the logo, and it used to be dominant purple, and now, obviously shifting the gears to that dominant red. Do you like the transitionary stuff, or are you like me, where the full Raptor with the jersey and the purple and seeing that? I mean, is that more of a feel and a flavor for you? Are you more like the gold with the OVO stuff? Are you more with the red and the Canada looking pieces? Where do you lie in the different ways we've seen the logo over the years?
First of all, personally, I could care less. But the dinosaur at the beginning. A lot of people laugh, called it Barney. Like a lot of people kind of made a joke about it. But
I love it.
Now it's extremely popular. I mean, people say, "Bring it back, bring it back." But obviously, they do a lot of this group surveys and group studies and marketing and this and that, and they know the most popular colors and red, black, all those colors. Generate revenues, right? People want those kind of things. So they're very smart teams today in terms of what they do to. You got to remember, every uniform you have, you're going to sell, right? So whether it's the OVO, whether it's a purple throwback, or whether it's the day-to-day red or black, you're going to sell it. And that's what it's all about. It's all about marketing, global licensing, and selling your product. So, like I said, for me personally, I don't care. But I know that they care because it's money. It's dollars.
Yeah, and to look at this WNBA team as well, the note here that they're going to be playing in downtown Toronto in the historic Coca-Cola Coliseum. Just what you think that means for their opportunity coming up here in 2026, downtown Toronto, the Coca-Cola Coliseum, and for people that don't know, just to describe that a little bit more.
Well, I think the most important thing is when you look at Toronto, just in general, WNBA, NBA, you go to a lot of cities. Okay, let's say I want to be a New York Knick. Andy, my son, played for New York.
Yeah.
You practice in Westchester. Okay. You play in Manhattan. You fly out not far from Westchester, right? From your charter. So where do you want to live when you're there?
Yeah.
You practice. So you say, do I live where I practice? Do I live where I play? Do I want to enjoy Manhattan, or do I not want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to morning practice? Do I want to be able to catch my flight easy, or do I want to not worry about that and take a limo when I got to go there? Those are all considerations. A lot of places, it's difficult, right? The travel within the city is difficult, from where your practice arena is to where you play to where you fly out of, all that. Toronto is great. The airport's only 20 minutes in a non-traffic situation, and you never travel in peak times, right? When you're going in and out, you're not traveling in peak times. Everything is downtown. Great cities, in my opinion, are great downtown living cities. When you have people that live downtown, you have great restaurants, you got transportation, and you have security. It's safe. And Toronto has all that. So players play downtown. So where they're going to play, where the Raptors play, is downtown. Where they're going to live is downtown. Most of the players with the Raptors live 5 minutes away from the arena, right? And the practice facility, the same thing. The practice facility is 5 minutes away from the playing facility, and everything's close by. So everybody's there. So you can live, socialize, play, whatever you want right there. It's all there. So to me, if I'm an NBA player or a WNBA player, what a great environment.
Yeah.
What a fantastic environment that everything is right there. So there's no extra travel. There's no extra time sitting in traffic. There's none of that. You can just enjoy life when you're not playing. The biggest gripe anybody has about Toronto is getting in and out of customs. that's the biggest hassle.
Yeah.
And that's kind of funny too, because when you're winning, nobody's talking about it. When you lose, oh man, that's a hassle. So other than that, that's it, you know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I know I've been up there a bunch of times, and you were gracious to bring me in a couple hours early, and let me see the arena before anybody came into it, which very grateful for. I love this city, and I don't think it's difficult at all. My hometown is Syracuse, New York, and obviously you know what it's like to be here in Syracuse. It's a 4-hour drive, and it's really totally fine. It's beautiful. There might be a couple moments where you got some traffic and whatnot, but for the most part, it's good. And for me, talking about traveling up there, I was making a habit of one game a season. Okay, this time I'm going to go a couple times, but I've always had an affinity to the Raptors. I've always had a connection since I was 9 years old. And, as a broadcaster, I want to build that bridge. I've talked to people within the organization. I want to continue to grow that and blossom that. Then COVID happened. And for people that don't know, Toronto was different. It was when things started to open in America, they were not opening in Toronto. There was 2 years in and people were still being told, don't go down the street and see your friends, can't go to work, can't do anything. How did this city, which I love so dearly, and when you're talking about it, I'm seeing the picture in my head of people, like, do you want to know if a city's a good city? Well, people are living downtown. Every other person's got a dog. They're all out doing their thing. So it's very, as much as it's a big city, it doesn't feel dangerous. It doesn't feel like you don't belong there. You got to watch over your back. It's an absolutely beautiful city with a lot to offer. But this city was so greatly affected by COVID, and I would love for you to kind of paint the picture of that, because life was very hard. And for me, living in Syracuse, I was not allowed. People in Toronto weren't allowed to move. I wasn't allowed to go up there and see a game, which kind of broke the streak a little bit in its own way. And now things are obviously better, but I'd love for you to speak about just how very tumultuous those times were.
Well, I think for everybody, right? I mean, I think you used the word life. I mean, they were protecting life. A lot of people felt they went to an extreme. I remember one time I drove in. Actually, it was the first time I drove back with my dogs. I was in Florida, and I drove back with my dogs, and you had to quarantine for 14 days, right? And I go, look, I got dogs. I got to take them to the park. They go, no. What are you talking about? I got 300 pounds of dogs. What do you think? They're going to go in my living room?
Yeah.
I got to take them out. And they go, no. So I said, say whatever you want. I'm putting my mask on. I'm going to the park. I mean, I don't care. You want to put me in jail, put me in jail. So, I mean, there were some things that didn't make sense. Some things were ridiculous. Toronto almost appeared like a ghost town. I remember the first couple of times I got back, wow. It was very, very different. I heard a lot of people, a lot of restaurants, a lot of businesses got crushed. A lot of people moved out. Toronto has a great cottage country, 2 and 3 hours north, and some east and west. And a lot of people said, okay, I'm going to buy a cottage, and if I can't be in the city, I'm going to work out of my cottage. Prices went crazy up, and all those cottage country prices just went bananas. And a lot of people were living there. And then when COVID ended, they're going, this was fun, but I want to be back in the city. And so a lot of people came back, and that's going to impact all the pricing and housing again. But it was a big hit. It was a big hit. And again, some people say they overreacted in terms of how they did it. But if you err on the side of caution, I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. But Toronto's rebounded from that now. There's, if I tell people all the time, you'll see more cranes in the city of Toronto than any big city in North America. The other day, I counted 25 cranes when I was in Toronto before I left for Florida. There's new restaurants, new businesses opening up everywhere. It's a very vibrant, fun city. There is a lot of construction, which is good. It tells you the place is continuing to grow and build, but traffic is a nightmare, a big nightmare right now. It's probably going to be for a while, but it's a world-class city. When you want to, you go to any of the big cities around the world that you want to live in, you deal with that. Traffic and congestion are a part of life, but they also have a great subway system, and it's safe. You hear all the stuff in New York, people getting worried about it. I get on the subway in Toronto, and I get anywhere. I don't worry about a thing. It's safe. It's clean. And I tell people to come visit Toronto, show me graffiti. I want you to show me graffiti on the subway. You're not going to find it. People take care of the city. Like I said, it was a hit, but I think Toronto's come out of it nicely. Yeah. And like any big city, you're dealing with issues, but I love Toronto. It's a great city.
And to spin this all back to the WNBA and the NBA, from the outside looking in, there's, like we had spoken about before when people were talking about attendance inaccurately, the notion of when we're talking about trades and free agency and whatnot, there's that conversation of, oh, well, players don't want to play in Toronto. It's cold in Toronto. They don't want to play in Toronto because they have to leave America.
It's cold in 3/4 of the NBA cities, right?
Right. And so to take some of these things that we hear, or they don't want to deal with the money exchange or whatever their contract is.
Oh, wait. You know what? Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
I'd love to deal with the money exchange. If I'm paid in U.S. dollars and I can live in Toronto and get a 40% exchange rate in my favor, I want to live in that city. I'll take it. Like right now, Dan, you want to come up to Toronto, you're getting a 40% discount on everything, right? That's from hotels to food to exchanging your cash. Hey, it's, you got to remember, a lot of things are put out by agents and teams that don't want Toronto to be successful. Yeah. I don't know if you remember the NBA All-Star game in Toronto. A week before the All-Star game, I was wearing a sport jacket outside. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
A week after the All-Star game, I was wearing a sport jacket outside. The All-Star game was the coldest freaking weekend in my life that I remember. I literally was in tears waiting for a cab outside. It was incredible. My phone froze, couldn't get an Uber. It was just ridiculous, right? And that's all people talked about. It was one of the greatest events, one of the best slam dunk contests in many, many years, all this stuff. All people talked about was the weather. Well, guess what? The year before in New York, when they had the All-Star game, it was the same thing. It was a brutal, windy, blustery, ice-cold snowstorm. Nobody talked about that. But in Toronto, you're going to talk about that. So it's a lot of it's put out by people that we've been hearing it for years. The players don't want to be there. You know how many players spend summers hanging out in Toronto, off-season coming to Toronto? Caravana has been a big event in the city of Toronto for many, many years. Half the NBA is in Toronto during Caravana. So the city, what you hear and what reality is are definitely two different things.
Yeah, and that's why I love having you on the broadcast to dispel a lot of these things that are put out there into the media. Leo Rautins here with me this morning for a few more minutes. Leo, before I let you go, to go back to the Raptors here as we get set for the draft coming up very soon. Darko, this era of him being the head coach, what has this felt like? What does it look like? How has it been the difference? We went from Dwayne Casey to someone who worked under Dwayne Casey with Nick Nurse, and then as Nurse moves on, the transition over to Darko and this new chapter. What has it been like for the Raptors, in your opinion? What is this leadership style like? Because everybody puts their own unique stamp on it. What has this era been like, as early as it is? I know we're not that far into it, but the Darko era, how would you describe it?
I really like Darko. He's brilliant. He's brilliant not only as a basketball coach, but as the science of sport, the science of your body. He's a brilliant guy. And Andy played for him in Tulsa. Andy was let go by Oklahoma City, and they asked him to play in Tulsa, which was their team, and Darko was the coach at the time. And Andy loved him. He gives you if you look at Oklahoma City and a lot of what they do, that's the kind of thing Darko did. He learned a lot of that. He also he really ties in international, which is movement, right? Um, the hardest thing for players to understand is the more you hang on to the ball, the easier it is for the defense,
Yeah.
right? Look at recently NBA Finals. When does Dallas get in trouble? When Luka hangs on to the ball, when the ball doesn't move. That's when you get in trouble because then Luka's not playing one-on-one. He's playing one-on-five. All right. If Kyrie's over dribbling and doing all that, he's playing 1-on-5. What you want to do is break the defense down. So it's split second. It's catch the ball, shoot, pass, drive, make a decision, make a decision, make a decision. And the one thing we see in North American basketball is I'm going to make a move for me. All right. I'm going to make a move for me. I want to score. I want to do this. I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's AAU ball. In FIBA, international basketball, is I'm going to put the ball on the floor or I'm going to make a move to create an advantage. Okay? I'm going to create a 1 second advantage for my team. So when I beat you, put the ball on the floor, and now I pass. So help is starting to come, right? Help is moving. I give it to my teammate. He catches it. He puts the ball on the floor, or he makes the move, right? And so what happens is you get a 1 second advantage and maintain that 1 second advantage until you get the shot or basket you want, right? That's good basketball. That's the way the game. When San Antonio won championships, they moved that ball like that because they had FIBA players on their team. And that's the way Darko coaches the game. It's don't hang on the ball, don't hold it. You catch it, you see what you have, you make a decision, you go. They passed the ball extremely well. They shared the ball extremely well. But the NBA comes down to talent, right? I remember Jim Boeheim when I got the job coaching Canada. I said, "Coach, you got any advice?" He goes, "Yeah. You don't have players, you don't win. Simple as that. You can be the best coach in the world. You don't have players, you don't win." So Darko was at a real disadvantage this year with uncertainty of everything that was going on from the beginning of the season with Pascal, OG, then the trades, and then the new guys coming in and this and that. Considering everything, you never saw this team not play hard. You never saw this team say, "Oh, okay, this is garbage." Even when you know you're not winning, everybody that played hard. To get players to do that today is very difficult, right? Especially in that environment. You look at the Pistons. The Pistons were losing. Watching them play was like getting your teeth pulled. It looked like guys didn't care. It looked like they were uninterested. You never saw that with Darko's team. So I give him a lot of credit in a very difficult environment. I thought he performed extremely well. Now the question is going to be is, when you get the talent, when you get the players, what's the next step, that transition? And I think Darko's excited for that. I think the team's excited to see what he can do. But if you buy into his style and you have the right players, you can be very successful because it's difficult to stop a team when you don't know who's going to be the scorer, right? Every night it can be a different leading scorer. Now in the NBA, you still need that guy that can get you a bucket, right? All this equal opportunity is wonderful.
Yeah.
But in the NBA, you need that guy that can get you a bucket. When everything goes bad, you need that guy. So the Raptors are still searching for that guy, whether it's going to be Scotty, whether it's going to be somebody they have, or where they find somebody. But in terms of the general system, I like Darko. I like what he's doing.
Yeah, and it's opening my mind to the thoughts, like you said, having the right people. Jordan Nwora, now they can figure out what they're going to do with his contract, Gary Trent Jr., and so on and so forth, the extension of Scotty Barnes. There's a lot coming up here with the Raptors, and it's got me thinking about another time to have you on the show when you and I go back into the history of your experience with the Raptors throughout time. But the final piece for today, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask the questions here. We'll go back and forth with a little bit of rapid fire as we've done before. I like to jump into the mind of Leo Rautins because you've been in this TV world for so long.
It's a shallow pool. It's a shallow pool.
But I want to say this. You spend time every single day finding ways, and you do it with coffee, and I love that. But you have this morning cup of coffee and a positive piece of advice. And it's that pay it forward approach of maybe something you need to hear, but you think maybe someone else needs to hear as well. And I value that so very much. So I do like the thoughts that come from you and the things that you share. And a lot of those positive pieces throughout the year, Leo, I take those and I take them with me in my day. So with that being said, you said shallow pool. I disagree. You get the first question. What do you got for me?
Cool. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Is it going to snow tomorrow in Syracuse?
I don't think so.
No. But I know you, Adrian Autry. He's on the recruiting trail. He's doing some good things. What's new there?
Yeah, I would say change. And I know that NIL and the transfer portal are affecting a lot of things and realignment as well. But I would say with Adrian, this team this season is going to feel, in my opinion, it's going to feel like a new team. There's a lot of faces that are gone, and I didn't think that this team could afford to lose Malik Brown and Quadir Copeland. Definitely not Malik Quadir, the second piece. They lost them both. Judah Mintz as well, and Justin Taylor and Munir Hema. So there's been a lot of change, but I'm cautiously optimistic of what they can potentially put together. And because this happened so early on with Adrian being a head coach, it lets us see who he recruits, who his coaching staff recruits, and what he's kind of looking for to build. So I think that this kind of in its own way gives us an opportunity to see earlier than maybe some people expected what type of team he can put together. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
All right, I got one for you.
Yeah.
How badly did the NCAA screw up on transferring, not paying players, nil, and all that? How bad did the NCAA screw this up when it could have been so different?
I love your question. I wrote an article about it, and I'll send it to you after the show as well. But my breakdown of this was 6 years ago on the show here on Wake Up Call. I was talking about the NCAA, and I said 5 to 10 years from now, the NCAA will look drastically different than what we know it as if it exists at all. That was my prediction 6 years ago of 5 to 10 years down the road. Now, that was based on the NCAA having different sets of rules for different schools, different sets of rules for different conferences, not punishing people, punishing other people, punishing Syracuse like they did something heinous but doing nothing to North Carolina. So there was that element of it that went into my thought process. Name, image, and likeness came out with no parameters. And it was thanks to California, when they approved this, the rest of the country was left with, well, if we don't approve it, California's going to get all these players because they're going to want to get paid. So whatever schools are in California are going to benefit. The problem that the NCAA did, and I would love for the national government to look into the legality of this, is that there was, I think at the time, 9 states that had put in some type of NIL law where they were looking at legislation of how to deal with NIL. 9 states. So you got 41 states going, we either disagree with this or we don't know enough about it or we haven't put a plan together yet. And the NCAA said, screw state law. You all have to do NIL. And somehow the NCAA jumped national law and jumped state law and forced every institution to allow name, image, and likeness with no plan. On top of that, realignment occurs where now we're going to have games inside of conferences like the ACC where Syracuse and Stanford are in the same conference over 2,000 miles away and over a 30-hour drive away, and that's considered a conference game. And then you add in the transfer portal where I'm good with transfers having the opportunity to go play somewhere else. If their coaching staff lies to them, if the coaches leave, if it's just not a good fit, if they want to be closer to family, I understand that there's rules, or not rules, but I know that there's decisions that make sense. But then there's also the fact of now we have free agency. The Toronto Raptors, when they had Pascal Siakam, he didn't play for Toronto and then play for Indiana the next year and then play for Detroit the next year and then the Knicks the next year and then come back to Toronto. But in college, now there is no year in residency. So you don't sit out. In some conferences, there was 2 years in residency. So if you transferred within the ACC, you went from Syracuse to Duke. Yeah, and you have to sit out 2 years instead of 1 year. So now the NCAA said, okay, we're going to open the transfer portal. It had opened previously to other sports, but when it opened to football and basketball, they said, okay, we're going to allow you to transfer your first time with no waiting, no year in residency. Recently, they said, you're never going to have a year in residency. So you could transfer the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, whatever you want to do, and you can keep bouncing around, play for 4 schools in 4 years. So what do I think about all this? The NCAA, my prediction was right, and it was a cautionary tale. I didn't want this to be right, but the NCAA had proven that they slap the wrist of some, they rub the shoulders of others, and they condemn others beyond that. And they had been working in this world of making billions of dollars as a non-profit organization, and the people they were making the money off of weren't getting anything. And the majority of these student athletes, as you know, they don't play professionally after playing in college. So the time to make money off of their name is in college. So the long-winded answer of all of that, as well as my article that I wrote, is that the NCAA had no control. They responded by having less control. Then Mark Emmert, at the president at the time during COVID, he said, I have no control over college football, and literally said, I'm the president of nothing by what he stated having no, he said, I can't tell a conference or an institution whether or not they can play, including during the pandemic. So then I thought, well, if I'm a coach and I get suspended by the NCAA, or I'm a student athlete and I get suspended, if you have no control over my institution and my conference I play for, then I'm not going to serve the suspension because these are your words, not mine. So what did the NCAA do, Leo? They didn't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. And now we're losing amateurism. There is no such thing as geographical rivalries in a lot of cases. And we're living in a world where free agency is rampant and there's no team in a lot of these areas. So the NCAA did not rule over anything, control anything. And as I've said before, if they put a pen around the horses, we wouldn't have to chase them every night. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, it's really a shame. Well, they could have fixed this problem years ago, and now it's a joke. It's pretty sad, actually.
Well, you get the final question. Give me something food related or something on a. Let's spin the thing here because the NCAA
Okay.
that's a deep one and there's a lot of stuff to work through. What else you got for me?
All right, let's see. It's been a while since I've been in Syracuse. I came down for Jim Boeheim's honoring, but I didn't really go out anymore. What's the best Italian spot in Syracuse to eat at?
Well, now you're gonna get me in trouble because I work with a bunch of them. But I would say that they all have their own like things that really stick out to me. But I'm gonna hit you with this one. There's one out in Auburn in the rolling hills of Auburn that you got to drive through Nothing Town to find this. And when I say Nothing Town, I love the area. It's just beautiful rolling hills. When you get to Lasca's and you pull in, it is this old Italian awesome experience. I think they're one of the only places, and I hope they still didn't, but one of the only places that didn't raise their prices when COVID hit, because you can get, when you order veal parmesan, you get 2 like this, and I'm not kidding. You get 2 pieces, not 1 piece of veal. You get veal somewhere else. You get this little tiny cutlet. You get 2 pieces of veal on top of each other, cheese over the whole thing, huge dish, fills the plate, sauce and everything. The price is right. They have kind of a marinara mixed with salsa type of sauce, which is more liquidy and it's got a little kick to it for their bread. Everything at Lasca's is really good. The portions are good. And if you're going to celebrate something big, that would be one of the places I tell people to go to. So I'm going to say go off the beaten path and go to Lasca's.
Sounds good.
So that coming from Leo Rautins here on the broadcast this morning. Raptors analyst for TSN and NBA TV Canada. Speaking on the Raptors, the new WNBA franchise, and more. Leo, as always, it's my pleasure. And I know that you got some stuff going on here today. So my best out to Coop and the rest of your family. And obviously say hi to Andy for me. And I look forward to talking with you soon. But I always appreciate your expertise, and you've been a good friend over the years more than anything else. So thank you for that, and I appreciate it.
Sounds good, Dan. Appreciate it. Always fun to come on.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Take care.
That
coming from Leo Rautins here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life here. And we'll come back with hour number 2. And in hour number 2, we have our trio of segments. You typically have the annoying moment of the week at 9 a.m., lead at 9:30, and the top dog at 10. But flipping the script here so we can make sure we had Leo on this morning from Florida. So now we will go back into our normally scheduled segments here, and we will bring you the annoying moment of the week. Coming up next from the wonderful partnership we have with Carvel DeWitt, the annoying moment of the week can always be something very interesting. So I got a few things to talk about after this fast break on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Heritage Hill studio. Stay with us. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. it's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is time for us to get into the annoying moment of the week. You all know that have been watching and listening for years up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world, that the annoying moment of the week is the longest standing segment on Wake Up Call. It's also connected to our longest partner with Wake Up Call, and that being Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Go out and get my sundae today, exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is called the DT Dolphin, with an ode to the Lemoyne College Dolphins that are right down the road from Lemoyne College. I think that coaches, when they have prospective student athletes come onto campus, and prospective students in general come onto campus, I feel like part of the trip around Lemoyne and the Syracuse area is to bring them over to Carvel DeWitt, because what team, what school has their own sundae right down the road? The DT Dolphin, mint chocolate chip, green of course for the Dolphins, with hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, topped off with a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. You can only get that at Carvel DeWitt, and we look forward to you going out and get it today, especially with it being as hot as it is outside. Go and get a DT Dolphin today. With that being said, let's get into the annoying moment. I love this segment. The annoying moment of the week.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week. It's time. It is time to finally bring you the annoying moment of the week. And I say finally because I love it. I literally think about it during the week. I'm like, man, that could be it. This could be it. Well, I do have some things for the annoying moment of the week. And I call them scoops because it's brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. So when I have more, I say I have more than one scoop. Well, I was having a conversation earlier today. And people are like, earlier today? You're a morning show. Yes, earlier today. And the conversation was, to me, just a conversation about, talking about dogs and this. I have a dog. Everybody knows Lily. That's my little girl. So, you talk back and forth with people. Oh, what's your dog's name? Oh, my dog's name's that. What kind of dog you have? You go back and forth. And so I asked, and so I got a message this morning. My dog's name is Barkley, but the name has to change because it's the name of a trader. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, what are you talking about? The name of a trader? And then I'm thinking, Charles Barkley? That's the first one that comes to mind because Charles Barkley is funny as heck. And, he's funny. I don't agree with everything he says. Let me be clear. But Charles is funny. And so I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, oh, you don't like Charles Barkley? And they said, no, Saquon Barkley. He's a trader. So their dog is named Barkley. And they don't want to keep that name for their dog because Barkley left the Giants, who they're a fan of, and is now a Philadelphia Eagle. And that's a true fan to me. And I was like, man, that's an annoying moment, right? Because for a fan, you named your dog, you've had your dog for years, and you name your dog after, like, what if I named my dog T-Law for Trevor Lawrence, right? And then Trevor leaves after his rookie contract and goes to some other team, goes to the Browns or something like that. And now I'm sitting here going, well, I don't want to keep my dog's name T-Law, you know what I mean? That's why I named Lily. It's after a flower, and it's beautiful, and she's beautiful. So, but, I mean, that's the thing. When you name... So I want to ask you all this morning, and feel free to respond, but have you ever named a pet after a player on your team, like your favorite team. Have you ever named a pet after someone on the team that you love to watch? And or have you ever named a pet after like something to do with like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? And then y'all break up and you're like, I'm not going to name the dog this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, what if you called, what if you dated somebody for a while, you dated 2 or 3 years, and your nickname for them was Pumpkin or Pookie or one of those things. Yeah, Pookie is such a weird one. Don't call each other that. It makes me sick to my stomach. A Pookie. Ew, gross. But let's say you dated someone and they were your Pookie, right? So then you got a dog together and you're like, well, you should name the dog Pookie. And then that person cheats on you and you're like, I can't name this dog Pookie anymore. So the question becomes, when you have someone who is a traitor in a relationship or on your favorite team, do you change your dog or cat's name after that? That's my question to you. Right? If you're a Boston Celtics fan and you name your dog Celtic, well, you're good, right? Unless the team sold itself and went somewhere else. And that did happen with Seattle. That's happened with the Supersonics. They became the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, but I like Thunder. Ooh, Thunder. You got like 2 dogs, big dogs. One of them's like light and the other one's dark, and you can name them Thunder and Lightning. That'd be pretty cool. But I want to know, do you have a pet or have you had a pet in your life that you named something that had to do with a team you like, or maybe an actor or an actress that you like, or maybe an ex, and then things didn't shake out the way you wanted them to shake out, and then you decided changing the name of your animal? That's what I want to know. I want to know that. So if you have that, share it. I don't have that. I have, my parents named my first 2 dogs, Mordu and Cinnamon, brother and sister. And then I named our next dog Shady because I was going to name her Shadow. I love Homeward Bound. And I was going to name a boy dog Shadow, and it was a girl, so I just shortened it to Shady. And then I had people that have a different brain than I do, let's say. Only a couple people in over a decade's time, but a couple of people were like, did you name your dog Shady after Slim Shady, Eminem? And I'm like, yeah. I looked at my soft-coated Wheaton, that sweet little beauty that she is, and I thought to myself, I should name her after Slim Shady, who makes fun of a bunch of people and made a career out of it. No, I didn't name my dog after that, but Lily, I don't know, I was coming up with names. And by the way, when you're coming up with names for your dog, when you're coming up with names for your dog, you realize very quickly what names you think are hooker sounding names. Because I'm trying to come up with a name for a girl dog, and I'm not going to say the names, but I said these names in the car, and I'm like, nah, that sounds like a hooker. And I'm like, nah, that sounds like a stripper for sure. That sounds like, and you're going through all these names in your head, and I'm like, well, I can't call her that, and I can't call her that. But see, I thought about this in the moment. I was like, well, I can't call her something that sounds like somebody that I dated, right? You can't do that. But I named my dog Lily, and then somebody I know ended up dating someone named Lily for a long time, and they broke up, and it wasn't a good breakup. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to change my dog's name. I didn't date Lily. You dated Lily. So I was like, I'm like, no, I mean, Lily's a beautiful name. And I did get asked in the beginning, though, is it 1 L or 2 L's for Lily at the end? And I said, I'm not an animal. I mean, it's Lily. It's the flower. So Lily, that's my girl. But that's my question to you this morning, because I got sent this message of, this is what I named my dog. And now that Saquon Barkley is not a Giant anymore and he's going to the Philadelphia Eagles, I have to change my dog's name. But then this person went one step further. And so, Saquon, I hope you're not listening, but this went one step further. She's like, I burned his jersey. And I was like, damn. And she was like, no, I didn't burn a jersey. I had 7. And I burned them all. And I was like, hey, good for you. That was quite a fire in honor of Saquon Barkley. I'm thinking here, though, I'm like, 7 jerseys. So the Giants have red. They have blue. They have white. That's 3 jerseys. Did they get a college jersey of Saquon? Did they have a Penn State one? I'm not sure. 7. I think that's what they said was 7. 7 jerseys. I'm going to fact check my message here. Let's see. It was a great statement. I'm going back to it. Yeah. Barkley needs a name change because he's now named after a traitor. I love that. And let's see here. How many? Yeah, I had about 7. 7 burned jerseys of Saquon Barkley. And if you bought those jerseys, good quality, we're talking that's like more than $700. That's a almost $1,000 fire. I hope the bonfire was nice. I hope it was worth it. Now, there are people that my friends have dated who like teams that I personally do not like. As a broadcaster, I'm impartial. I give credit where credit is due. But in the comfort of my own home, there's certain teams that I'm like, not my cup of tea. And he was dating this girl. I'm not going to name what the team was, but he was dating this girl, and her name was Amanda. Her name is Amanda. I hope she's doing well. They're not dating anymore. Sweet girl. Bad taste in team. And so Amanda, I remember I was walking because we were living in a condo together. So it was my room, his room, and then our other roommate was on the other side. And so we're like wall to wall, right? And he had left. He went to work or something. And I'm in the house, and Amanda's in the house. And I told him to tell her when she comes to the house, make sure she knows to not have any jerseys of said team. And she took that as an opportunity to do the opposite. So we're talking about burning jerseys, and this is, connected to that. So Amanda, I'm walking into the kitchen, and his door's open to his room, and she's there, and she's got her suitcase. She opens up her suitcase, and she goes, Dan, and she holds up this jersey, and you can see like a straight shot through the kitchen into his room, and she had a jersey of this player. I said, Amanda, I told you, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I told you not to bring it here. Now that I know that it's here, when you leave the house, there's a chance that I'm going to set it on fire. So I was thinking about not actually doing, well, I was 50-50. But I thought about when she comes home, I should have the trash can outside because we had a front porch. And so when you pulled in, you could see our porch. I was thinking about having a trash can outside and having the jersey just like laying over the trash can. And that when she pulls in, as she's like sees me and she pulls into the spot, that I would have the lighter right next to the jersey looking like it's going into the trash can. And to this day, I would feel bad if I burned her jersey. I'd feel like I'd have to buy her another one. But at the same time, the person whose jersey it was burn worthy. But yeah, I mean, that's an annoying moment for fans, right? Not only does somebody go to another team, but they go to a team in your division. And why is it so incestuous in the NFC East? It's so incestuous in the NFC East. Cowboys become Eagles, Eagles become Giants, Giants become Cowboys, Cowboys become Eagles. It does that. And Saquon Barkley, man, I mean, he's in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly hate right now. And in that city, they say it's tough to go into that city and wear any jersey. But what's it going to be like when he goes to East Rutherford? When Saquon returns to face the Giants. And by the way, Giants fans travel. I'm a Jaguars fan, as you know, in the comfort of my own home, and they travel. They came to the game a couple years ago at Jaguars Stadium, which was TIAA Bank Field at the time. It's EverBank Stadium now. It used to be EverBank Field. A couple seasons ago, Giants fans came down, and they made it a home game. And it was actually embarrassing because you're in your home stadium as a Jaguars fan, and the Giants fans are louder. And when you put your head down and I'm in the press box and I'm like typing something and you hear cheering, I look up to think, oh, it's a Jaguars play. No, it was a Giants play because there was that many fans. and they were that loud. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people that are in New York area, they travel down to Florida, hence the term snowbirds. So, that's another piece of it too. But yeah, Giants fans travel. So they're going to come to Philly. And then Saquon has to go to East Rutherford, New Jersey to face the Giants. And I'm sure that some people are going to love him forever. This person decided that his decision to go to Philadelphia was a true annoying moment. Annoying enough to change the name of your dog. And burn, not one jersey, 7. 7, this many. 7 jerseys. It's a lot of money just up in flames. That's an annoying moment of the week. I have other ones for you, but I appreciate that person sharing that with me this morning because that was pretty incredible. I'm changing my dog's name. Why? Well, now you know. So here's something, and I was talking about Indiana Jones yesterday, and so it's weird that this news came up. A monolith popped up in Nevada's desert, and it's very disturbing if you can see it here. So you see that the monolith, so there's that's just looking out into nature, and then there's this glass reflective structure that's just sitting there in the middle of nature, reflecting the nature. It says the strange monolith looks like it could have come from another world, jutting out of the rocks in a remote mountain range near Vegas. The rectangular prism reflective surface imitates the vast desert landscape surrounding the mountain peak where it had been erected. But where did the object come from? That's a mystery U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service said it was trying to solve after learning about it through a social media post. Members of its search and rescue unit found the otherworldly object over the weekend near Gas Peak, G-A-S-S, Gas Peak, a part of the vast desert national wildlife refuge where bighorn sheep and desert tortoises can be found roaming. At 6,937 feet, it is among the highest peaks in that area of Las Vegas. Quote, "We see a lot of weird things when people go hiking, like not being prepared for the weather, not bringing enough water. But check this out," is what the police department had wrote, end quote. Now, photos accompanying the department's post show the strange structure standing tall against a bright blue sky with distant views of the Las Vegas Valley. It evokes the object that appears in the Stanley Kubrick movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. So that's another piece of this thing here. Neither the police department nor the search and rescue unit immediately responded to requests for more information, the latest in a series of mysterious shiny columns popping up around the globe since at least 2020. That's always great. Do you feel like the pandemic just made everybody crazy? Not everybody crazy, but I don't know if the pandemic made people crazy or if it made crazy people feel like they could come out in society and share their crazy with all of us when they had normally kept it to their own household. But amongst all the things that are going on, now there's strange monoliths. In November, a similar metal monolith was found deep in the Mars-like landscape of Utah's Red Rock Desert. Then came sightings in Romania, Central California, and on the famed Fremont Street in downtown Vegas. All of them disappeared as quickly as they popped up. The Utah structure, which captured the world's imagination during the pandemic, is believed to be the first in the series. It stood at about 12 feet and had been embedded in the rock in an area so remote the officials didn't immediately reveal its location for fear of people getting lost or stranded while trying to find it. This is insane. Absolutely crazy here. Just reading through this. Let's see here. People might come looking for it and be coming with inappropriate vehicles or driving where they shouldn't, trampling plants. So there was that worry and that concern about it. But yeah, a strange monolith. Nothing like having one of those popping up. And there's other ones that I'm looking at right now. There are these metal structures. Watch, it's just some some artist that wants to get their work out there, and they're like putting these things out there, and people are taking pictures, and their Instagram followers are going crazy over it, and it's really just somebody wanting to share their work. Could be something as ridiculous as that. But yeah, it's an annoying moment of the week to me because it's disturbing. And so, because some people are like, oh, it's aliens. And the thing is, they vanish as soon as they appear, which it could be an artist. I mean, I don't know how heavy these things are, but it could be an artist showcasing their work that is just doing it in this very unique way because they know that they'll have a viral following. It could be that the government sees these and takes them immediately, so they look like they disappear. I don't know if they're really disappearing. But yeah, I'm going to count that as an annoying moment of the week because it's like a crazy movie happening in real life. Here's another one for you. Tokyo City Hall is developing a dating app to encourage marriage and childbirth because the other dating apps are so much fun. So it's called Tokyo Futari Story, the City Hall's new initiative, an effort to create couples futari in a country where it's increasingly common to be hitori or alone. While a site offering counsel and general information for potential lovebirds is online, a dating app is also in development. City Hall hopes to offer it later this year, accessible through the phone or the web. Details were undecided, but let's see what else we know. Marriage is on the decline in Japan as the country's birth rate fell to an all-time low. That's not happening in America. Maybe marriage. But last year there was There was 474,717 marriages, down from 504,930 in 2022, while births totaled 727,277, down from 770,759. The report also states the app may ask you for your height, job, and education, but the official denied anything was decided. On the national level, the government has been trying to solve a serious labor shortage by promising cash payments for families with children and supporting child care facilities. It's also relaxed immigration policy over the years to encourage an influx of foreign workers. So Japan needs more workers, so they're asking you to have more babies. And now there's going to be a dating app that's pushing for it. Literally and figuratively, right? Because you have to push to have a baby. There you go. Play on words. But what an interesting... First and foremost, I think we can all agree, dating apps are not fun. They're not. Sometimes you find someone worth talking to, and that's great. And I have friends that have done that as well, and that's wonderful. Oftentimes on dating apps, and I think anyone who's ever used a dating app can attest to this, even if you have found your husband or your wife, or you found somebody you like talking to, you have probably also found a lunatic. You have probably found someone that might want to cut off your face and wear it on their face or use it as a lampshade. You might find somebody who is 40 some odd years old living in the basement of a total stranger. You might find someone who doesn't wash the socks on their feet until 5 days later. You might find someone whose sock puppets talk to you more than they do. There's a lot of people online. And you quickly find out it's not all great. Dating apps, man, you do find some fun people. You really do. And there's always the opportunity of finding a good person. And I would like to believe that when you go out there and you try to do things the right way, there's got to be somebody on the other side of that, right? Eventually. And along the way of hopefully meeting the right person for us all, you get some really awesome stories. And those stories are annoying at first, but then funny later. And you never know, just like the box of chocolates from Forrest Gump, what you're truly going to get. It is Russian roulette on these dating apps. Maybe Russia should create a dating app called Russian roulette. That would be fun. I feel like it would also be dangerous, which Russians might like. Who knows? Russian roulette, the dating app. I feel like I should create that. I feel like my company should create the Russian roulette dating app, right? And it's like, it's instead of bullets in the barrel, essentially you get like 7 people. You can't see any of their pictures, but you get 7 people and you get information about each of them. And you have so much time to make a decision before the barrel goes to the next bullet, aka person. And once it's gone, it's gone. So you have to make a decision on which one you're going to fire, and you can only fire 1 out of the 7 at a time. So you get 7 each day. You can read about each of the 7. You can't see their picture, and you have to pick which bullet, aka person, that you want to fire, and that's your Russian roulette, and that's the person that you match with for the day, if they match with you. Oh my gosh, I created that. Let's do it. Copyright and TM, Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, LLC. Don't nobody take that. Russian roulette. See, Tokyo, you got a dating app? I got one too. So we're going to take a step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. When we come back inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, we will go to our segment Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, focusing this week on the topic, Keep Moving Forward. After this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, right here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios, you'll find Heritage Hill Brew House out in Pompey on 3149 Sweet Road, out in the country in God's landscape. That's what I call it. Central and upstate New York, like God took a paintbrush and made something awesome, as he always does. And at Heritage Hill North, 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, you'll find them at Sweetheart Corner. So you got Sweet Road and Sweetheart Corners, both sweet and both in awesome places, one in the country, one in the city, and literally, as Dan Palladino says, they meet you where you're at. So you can go out, and if you're out in the country, go see Heritage Hill at the Brew House. And if you're out in the hustle and bustle of North Syracuse and East Syracuse and Liverpool, Cicero, Clay, downtown Syracuse, all of those areas not far away from Heritage Hill North, right there at Sweetheart Corner on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. With that being said, it is time for Lead, our faith-based segment here. Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. And that is proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. You can go out and see both of those locations, owned and operated by the fantastic Jimmer Sikowski, one of the best people I know. And we appreciate him so very much. Lead, once again, the acronym Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. Today's topic, keep moving forward. People sit today and think about what's going on in their lives. You could be sitting here watching and listening to the show saying, you know, Dan, I'm having a tough day. You know, just went through a breakup. My friend and I aren't talking. I didn't get the job I wanted. Just had somebody pass away that I love dearly. Just got ghosted. I thought I was going to get this opportunity and I didn't get it, but it seemed like I was going to get it, and then all of a sudden it went away. In your life, you will have heartache. In your life, you will have pain. In your life, you will have confusion. You will have distress. It's part of life. And I spent a lot of my life trying to not have stress, right? To never have stress. But I can't control other people. I can't control things. I can't control places. So in my life, I've had to learn over time, pain happens. Not everything works out. Not every friend is forever. Not every relationship will materialize into your husband or wife. Not every job is the right fit forever. Not everybody tells the truth. Some places believe in double standards. And those things, not negative, that's reality. Some people constantly ask you to prove yourself when they never prove themselves. Some relationships are one-sided. Business, friend, peer, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, family. So, if all these things are true, and I'm telling you, pain is part of life, adversity is part of life, well, Dan, that sounds morbid. Hear me out. Without adversity, without pain, without strife, you don't realize how strong you can be. You have to fall in order to crawl. You have to fall in order to walk. You have to fall in order to run. And humans aren't different than birds in the sense of falling. We can't flap our wings and fly. But do you think a bird flies immediately after being born? Nope. They sit, and they get up, and they try to take off. It doesn't work necessarily the first time or the second time or the 8th time. But they keep trying. They keep going after it until eventually they fly. Life mirrors the action of watching a baby stand up and fall and stand up and fall. A bird try to fly and fall, try to fly and fall. Life mirrors that because we have to tumble in order to stand up. We have to go through little slight jumps before we can spread our wings and fly. Is it fair? Not always. Is it right? Not always. Are there double standards? Yeah. Do sometimes you feel like you did everything right and you're still struggling to fly? Yeah, that happens. But you got to keep moving forward. Why, Dan? Why can't I just sit on the couch and quit? Because life is not meant to be spent waiting to die. Life is meant to be spent living. They call it life. They don't call it sitting. Right? When you're born, you're given life. God gives you life. Your family, your mom and dad brought life into the world. They didn't bring sit and do nothing. They didn't bring sloth on the couch. They didn't, and I'm not saying don't relax on the couch. Relax on the couch. I'm saying don't spend your whole life on the couch. Everybody has something they're going through. And the older I get, the more I realize that that is true. You never know what someone is dealing with. You see somebody and you think to yourself, wow, they're kind of rude or they're kind of standoffish or they don't, they didn't say hi back to me or they never smile when I come into the room. And I'm always nice to them. Or why do I walk into a room full of strangers and they've always treated me with disrespect? I've been there. I've walked into a room full of people, talk to the person standing next to me, and act like I'm not there. Stare at the ground. One of them I had known for over a decade, been there when they needed me. Never understood that disconnect, outside of the fact that I had told him I, would call him and wasn't always good about calling. Not that he ever called me, but I was like, I guess he could say I didn't keep my word when I said, hey, I'm going to call you. I didn't do that a lot, but I always thought of them. And when I saw them, say hello to them, see how they're doing. But we had never had bad words. Another one of them, never spoken to me before. Another one of them, barely ever spoken to me before. One of them, communication is absolutely awful. Another one, just staring at the ground. And I remember walking in that room going, none of these people know me. And then years later, walking into that same room going, none of these people know me. And you think to yourself, then why are they rude? Why are they disrespectful? Why are they condescending? Why do they think they're better than me? And you can sit and think about why. Or you can say to yourself, here's a room full of people that don't know me, don't know much about me at all. Don't know my favorite food, don't know my middle name, don't know where I grew up, don't know really anything, don't know my favorite color, don't know when my birthday is, general things about me, right? Simple things about me. But they treat me as if I don't exist. So years later, you know what I think about those people? Let them be. Let them be. Because a person who will treat you like you are inadequate, that doesn't know you, doesn't deserve to know you. They don't deserve to get to know you. I'm not saying don't be nice. Be nice. I'm saying understand in life, if someone is willing to treat you like you're a nothing when they don't know you, what makes you think that getting to know you is going to change them? They made a judgment call on you knowing absolutely almost nothing. And do you really want to be friends with someone or date someone or hang around with someone who can make a quick judgment call about you or anybody knowing no information? Someone who could push someone away having no idea who that person is that they're even pushing away. See, it's not easy in life to keep moving forward. But where else are you going to go? What other direction is productive? Backwards, not productive. Why would you go back through things that you got through? You want to replay things that happened to you? Right? You want to go back through a bad memory? That doesn't make any sense. So, to me, if you're not moving forward and you're moving backward, you're replaying stuff, but you're not doing anything new. If you're standing still, you're not going anywhere. And if you're moving side to side, you're staying on the same line. The only thing that makes sense is to move forward. The only thing that makes sense is to try better now. Learn. You can learn from every bad situation. I was taught that a long time ago. They said if you date someone and it's not good and they were the problem and they hurt you, you can still learn from that. Right? And I have. And I think when you learn in a friendship, like I had a friend that wasn't a good friend. And ultimately, I thought they were my best friend. And the way that they were at the end of it all, it's like, I don't even know if we were acquaintances. We're just two ships passing in the night. Like, hey, how you doing? That's it. But what did I learn from that relationship? Yeah, they did things that made me eventually walk away. But I learned from that relationship, that friendship, that I was late. And that really hurt their feelings when I was late. And I wasn't late because I didn't care about them. I wasn't late because I didn't value their time. I wasn't late for any type of negative meaning, but I was late. And I'll never forget that conversation when I was late to see him and his girlfriend. And then she had to leave, and he told me how he felt about it. And I felt really genuinely bad. And that stuck with me. And you got to let that teach you something. Was he a good friend? Ultimately, no. But that doesn't mean that I can't learn. And I think that even in situations where, let's say you haven't done anything wrong, you can still learn, right? Let's say you're brought up by a parent who thinks that when they get married, that means the other person's going to take care of them. They're going to pay for everything. They're going to clean everything. They're going to do everything. So you learn from that and you decide, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to, we're going to pay for things together. I'm going to help them clean. I'm going to help them cook. Because, that's how my mom raised me. My mom raised me that a woman does not clean up after you. You have hands. You can reach down and pick up your clothes and put them in the hamper. You can take that hamper and bring it downstairs. You can put it in the washer. You can turn the washer on. You can wash your own clothes. Then you can put them in the dryer. And then when they're dried, you can fold them. I liked folding clothes with my mom. And some people might see relationship as an opportunity of, someone's going to pay for me. I had somebody tell me that their friend goes on dates just to get a free meal every now and then. They don't even like the person they're dating. They just, they're like, okay, for the next month, I can, get a few free meals out of this and save some money. That's criminal. It's theft, honestly. And, I learned in my life, you don't go to a woman or a friend or a boss or anybody and be like, can you cook for me? Can you clean for me? Can you pay everything? Can you wipe my butt? Can you do all these things that I should be doing for myself? It's not saying in life you don't need help, but you have to be the one that moves forward. What do they always say? You can bring a horse to drink. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. And I've talked with people recently about this that feel like they failed. They said, I brought all these horses to water, but none of them drank. So I'm a failure. I said, you're not a failure, because a leader brings a horse to a place where they can find nourishment. But a leader cannot make that horse be nourished. They can only guide them to the nourishment. What did they say? Jesus didn't just hand a bunch of people food. He taught you. Like, you teach a man to fish, they can eat for life. You give a man a fish, they can eat for that meal. And a lot of people who expect things to be handed to them, they don't know what to do 2 hours after. Okay, well, you fed me for breakfast, but what am I supposed to do for lunch? Figure it out. See, life is about figuring it out. And eventually, you have to figure it out. Somebody breaks up with you, there's a death. Unfortunately, something happens that makes you have to figure it out on your own. And you move, there's something with a job. There's a question that somebody can't answer because they've never experienced what you've experienced. Eventually in life, you have to figure things out on your own. You have to. You can go to people for advice, but you ultimately have to figure things out on your own. Speaking of figuring things out on your own, Jerry shared a message this morning. He said, a friend of mine had his online bride inform him that she used to be a man. This was a week before the wedding. He took off. He lives in the Philippines. Which one? But, yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, good for him. But again, see, life hands you adversity, and now he lives in the Philippines, which, is probably beautiful. Home to Arnel Pineda, the wonderful lead singer of Journey. The Filipino culture, Joe Coy, fantastic comedian. So, hey, Jerry, maybe this was God's way of getting him to go outside of his horizon and move to the Philippines. God bless him. Maybe he'll find himself a wonderful Filipino woman. Who knows? The thoughts in my head. But when we're talking about crazy. When we're talking about lead and we talk about keep moving forward. Right. It's not going to be easy, folks. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Well, how do you know it's going to be worth it, Dan? Because I've had to. I've had to keep moving forward. One of my favorite quotes has that in it. Keep moving forward. And what else can you really do to be productive? When someone breaks up with you, if you don't move forward, nothing changes. You just stay stuck. If a friend and you stop talking and you just keep staring at pictures of them, time goes by. Time you're never going to get back. I'm not saying you don't grieve. I'm not saying you don't feel. I'm saying eventually we have to move forward. Somebody gets a diagnosis. You can't just, you can, but it's not going to change it if you just sit there. Be proactive. Do something about it. When the doctor says you're 20 pounds overweight, you're going to have to walk, you're going to have to change your diet. If you sit on the couch, the next time you go to the doctor, you're going to be 40 pounds overweight. Or 30 pounds overweight. Or 22 pounds overweight. You're not going to be less overweight. What I'm really saying when I'm saying keep moving forward is take responsibility for your own life. It's your key. It's your car. You're driving it. If you don't get oil changes, something might happen with the car. If you don't take care of the transmission and the engine, you might break down. If you don't put windshield wiper fluid in, you might not be able to see. If you don't put gas in the car, you can't go anywhere. Or if you have an electric car, you can go somewhere for a few hours. And then you can sit in the middle of nowhere and hope to God that the car charges on time. And listen, I'm not saying that electric cars don't look sleek, but when you rent one and you realize, oh, at some point in my trip, I have to go waste time plugging this thing in and either sitting in it or walking around. I brought it to a dealership and walked around a Walmart for an hour on my vacation. No, thank you. Imagine if you had to wait an hour for someone to bring you gas. People would lose their minds. So, when you look at, but I still think we need to do something to help the environment. I just don't know if electric cars are the answer because it sounds like a giant inconvenience. To keep moving forward, you have to know where you are. You have to be honest with yourself about where you're at. You have to look at your surroundings and make a decision on what path is going to be the best one for you in your next step. And I'm not saying that you have to take a massive step. You got to take baby ones. As long as you're moving forward every single day, it doesn't matter if it's a little, tiny, because it's progress. See, people think progress is I started here and I got to be up here tomorrow in an hour by lunchtime. No. Progress is the steady move forward. Steady, consistent. Sometimes it's 10 steps. Sometimes it's 2 flights of stairs. Sometimes it's your baby toe going a little bit farther forward than it was a second ago. But it's still a move forward. And why do I talk about that this morning? Some people that watch the show and listen to the show, you have a similar faith as me. Some of you have a different faith. Some of you have a different religion. Some of you don't have a faith. But can't we all agree that life should be spent not wasting time? Can't we all agree that life should be spent being good to ourselves and others? Can't we all agree that living in the past means that you die there? Can't we all agree that living in the past doesn't change it? Whether you believe in God or not, there is a compass there to help you on your path. Some of you call it God. Some of you call it nature. Some of you call it intuition. Some of you call it a gut feeling. It's all the same. And God, to me, knows no bounds. And when I say to God, guide me and guard me, a lot of the times I feel like I'm not being guided and guarded. And what it is, when I feel that way, is that He is guiding and guarding me. I just don't like the answer. Some people stop believing in God because they don't like the answers. But guide and guard me. I thought about that a few days ago because I was dealing with a situation and I kept praying, God, guide me and guard me. Guide me and guard me. And I look back on it and I'm like, were you guarding me? Were you guiding me? And then I was like, yeah, but He was guarding me from what I wanted and He was guiding me towards something else. So I thought I was standing still when in actuality, He was trying to move me the whole time. I just didn't like what I was hearing. A lot of times in life, we don't like God's answer. So we stop believing, or we tell God that God's wrong. But a problem that I was dealing with a couple weeks ago felt like every day was long. And now it feels like that thing was such a distant memory that I'm sitting on a beach and I'm looking out at that memory almost like it's out in the water and it's so far away, and it's like, wow, that just went with the breeze over the water, and it's never coming back. It just kind of went. What's peaceful today was chaotic 2 weeks ago, but what did I do? I kept moving forward. I kept praying, tried to do nice things for myself, brought myself out to movies, got my mind off of things that were on my mind, thought positively, talked it through with friends, prayed to God, looked at the Bible, played with my dog, went and did something nice for myself, went and did something nice for myself, went and did something else nice for myself, worked hard, built relationships, reached out to people, saw God's blessings all around me, and then finally got the hint that God was guarding me from the thing I wanted. That's why I felt like I was standing still, because he was blocking me from it. So I was like, God, you're not guiding me. You're not guiding me and guarding me because I'm not moving closer to it. And he's like, no, I am guarding you. That's why you're not moving closer to it. I'm going to say that again. God, you're not guiding me. You're not guarding me because I'm not getting closer to what I want. And God said, oh, I am guarding you. That's why you're not getting closer to it. They say God has 3 answers to every prayer. Yes, not right now, or no, because I got something better. Where we typically think God says no most of the time and yes sometimes. Well, if God had said yes to my requests, simply yes, my life would not be what it is today. I wouldn't have what I have today. So, if today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. It's a beautiful piece of a song that I hear in church. If today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. You may not get the answer you want. You may not. In your lifetime, there's going to be a time where you don't get the answer you want. Because you have to learn no. You have to learn adversity. You have to learn that you don't get everything that you want. You have to learn that things come with hard work, dedication, and determination. And some things that you want never come because it's not good for you. If we lived life through an appreciation of learning and gaining information, we would know. And I've learned enough to not think and say the same things that I used to say to God. I used to go, God, why are you putting me through this? I don't need this. And I went to say it again this time. I was like, God, why did you put me through? I did need this. It's the thing that helped put me back together. The thing that was stressful and difficult is also the thing that helped to put me back together. So I did very much need this. I definitely needed this. And without this, I wouldn't be ready for when the right thing comes along. So just remember, when you try to move forward and you work to move forward, and even if you're taking a baby step, it's still a step. And when you feel like you're being blocked from something, understand sometimes you got to push through it to get to it. And other times it's God telling you, I don't want you here. And remember, God lives in rooms that you're never in. And sometimes you're removed from a table. And I can't take credit for this. I read it somewhere. Sometimes you're removed from a table where someone was serving you poison. You didn't know it. And that's why I tell people all the time, whether you believe in God or not, I have a very strong belief that at some point in your life you have or you will be removed from a table and you don't know why. And you might call it a coincidence, and you might call it a hunch, and you might call it a gut, and you might call it luck. I call it God. But we've all been removed from tables where someone was serving us poison. We've all been taken out of rooms where someone had a knife ready to stab us in the back. And you might think to this day that you wish you were in that room, because if only you were in that room, and that's the room you should have been in, and I can't believe that I'm not in that room. But there are battles being fought all the time that you will never be privy to. So concentrate on being healthy, taking a step forward every single day, even if it's just a little baby step, because it's still a step. Don't minimize it. Be good to yourself. Take a step forward every single day. And surround yourself with the real ones. Don't worry about the fake ones. You're not meant to eat at every table. You're not welcome in every house. And that doesn't mean you're not a good person, and it doesn't mean you're not likable. Everybody looks through the window, but not everybody can afford what's in the store. So sometimes when you think somebody not choosing you means you have no value, sometimes it means they can't afford you. And what does that mean? Does that mean that person doesn't have enough money? No, that's not what I'm saying. A lot of people look, but some people will see your value and minimize it. Some people will see your value and put your value to their value, and they'll project onto you. Some people will diminish you. Some people will think your value is so much higher than them because they don't value themselves. You never know. A lot of people, and a lot more than you think, come through your storefront window and they look in. But it's the ones that are confident, excited, happy to walk through the door and value, without a discount, without a sale time, to come into that store and not just look through the window, but have the courage, the belief in themselves to walk through the door and see firsthand the value of what's in the room. Not everybody in the room is meant to stay there. Not everybody that walks through the door isn't going to walk out the door. It's the people that want to come in, that actually do come in, and they stay, and they commit to being there. Those are your people. Anybody else? They walked in your store, they looked at your store, they looked through the window. They're passers-by. Learn the lesson, get the blessing, and move on. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by the fantastic team led by Jimmer Sikowski of Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. It is now time to jump into the top dog of the week. Top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, the best place to bring your dog for short and long-term care in central New York. You'll find them both in East Syracuse. The easiest way to get to them is, well, there's many ways to get to them. You can get off the thruway, get off the highway, you come off Carrier Circle, come off Erie Boulevard. They're there on 228 Old Bridge Street for the Daycare. That's 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse across from BJ's. You'll find that there. And down the road from the Daycare is Canine Kampground Dog Boarding for lodging, for long-term care for your dog. That is on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse. The Daycare is K-9KAMP.com for more information. You can also call 315-437-7110. And for long-term care at the Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, you can give a call at 315-299-4013. And you can go online to KAMPground.com. Our top dog of the week for this week. Man, I got to give it to Bryson DeChambeau. I have to. And some love to Payne Stewart. Love the memory. Love the mention of him. Very proud. And, you know, just I don't know. proud's not the word. I was just excited to hear his name again. Because Payne Stewart's one of the reasons why I started watching golf, like I had said earlier in the week. So shout out to Payne in heaven. And a God bless to him there. Shout out to his loved ones that are up in heaven with him that have also passed on. And shout out to his loved ones here on earth with their loved ones. May they all be connected through God, because, as we know, dying you destroyed our death, and rising, Jesus restored our life. Top dog of the week, honoring Payne Stewart and Bryson DeChambeau. His second U.S. Open win ever, and he's gotten 2 in the last 5 years, 2020 and 2024. So, huge congratulations to him on that. Got to call him the top dog of the week. I would also say to all the dads out there, the dads that stick around, dads don't get a good rap, and in all honesty, this is kind of the annoying moment of the week too. Dads don't get a good rap. You ever go try and buy your dad a card for Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, New Year, like any major outside of Father's Day, it is really difficult to find a dad card for a holiday. Mom cards everywhere. Mom funny, mom religious, mom blank, mom from daughter, mom from son, mom from kids, mom from random neighbor down the street. So, you never know when you go into a store. You wouldn't think that there's like any good fathers out there because there's little to no representation. I remember one time I was looking for a card for my dad for Christmas. I had to go to like 5 stores. And I went to major stores. Like major, the name stores. And there was next to nothing. And I finally found one, thank goodness. But my top dogs of the week are dads. We're coming off of Father's Day. And whether you're a dog dad or a cat dad or a bird dad or a foster dad or a stepdad or a dad who adopted or a dad who's a biological dad, you're a dad. Streamline. Dad. Dog to Lily's my dog. I'm her dad. Right? My father's my dad. Papa Joe's like a second dad to me. That's another dad. To me, I don't like stepdad and foster dad and this. I named it all to say like where whoever you are out there as a dad, but I don't like saying, well, this is a stepdad and then this is a real dad. Oh, this is a dad that adopted and this is there's no real and fake. You're alive, or are you not? You're not a hologram. You're not a monolith like the things that they've been finding in Nevada. If you're a father, you're a father. And we need to honor dads more because we don't. Society stereotypes. Mom sticks around, dad runs away. Mom does everything, dad does some things. Mom's always there, you can count on her. Dad, he's kind of a deadbeat, right? You don't hear deadbeat mom, but you hear the notion deadbeat dad. I've never heard somebody say deadbeat mom. I don't think I ever have, but I've heard deadbeat dad. That's a normal term in our society. Right? There's moms that make mistakes. There's moms that leave. There's moms that abandon, right? It's not just dads that do that. But my top dogs of the week this week, I want to shout out dads because I have a dad who loves me and we have a better relationship than we've ever had. And I have a mom who loves me and we've had this, bond with each other forever. And to me, I don't wait until Mother's Day to honor my mom and I don't wait until Father's Day to honor my dad. But coming off of Father's Day being this past weekend, I want to take the time to say thank you to the dads that are dads, the dads that show up, the dads that go the extra mile, the dads that go on the rides with their kids that they probably wouldn't go on by themselves, the dads that go on those trips to the places where their kids want to go because it matters to them to see that. The dads that take interest, the dad that shows up at your game, the dad that texts you, the dad that calls you, the dad that doesn't want to go a few days not hearing from you, the dad that wants to eat with you, the dad that wants you to visit, the dad that remembers your birthday, the dad that remembers the things that are important to you, the dad that remembers what you told them. They're there for you when you hurt. They hurt when you hurt. They're happy when you're happy. They smile when you smile. They cry when you cry. They feel when you feel. They think when you think. To all the dads out there, streamline. Not the dog dad here and the this dad there and the bio. No. To all the dads out there that love their kids and are there for their kids and do whatever they can for their kids, rock on. God bless you. Thank you for being a dad. You're my top dogs of the week because, A, I'm sick and tired of not seeing dad cards on holidays. So fix that, stores, and stop acting like every dad is a bad dad, because that's what it looks like when there's 70 cards for mom and there's 3 for dad. And 2 of those cards suck. And they look like people didn't put any effort into those cards. So I'm shouting out the dads because, number one, society doesn't do it enough. Number 2, because I have a great dad. I have a great second dad. I have my grandfathers up in heaven that are great, that are father figures to me. I have an adopted grandfather and another grandpa that are great fathers to me. I have mentors that have that connection to me as well. So when it comes to a father figure, when it comes to a dad, to the good ones, salute. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. And you need more cards in the stores and more representation and more love. Because, yeah, my mom is great. But I love time with my mom and I love time with my dad. I love getting to know them. I love celebrating things together in life. I love getting genuinely good advice. I love that they stay on the phone, that they listen to me, that they hear me out, that they laugh with me, they cry with me, they celebrate with me, and they have a good time with me. So I want to take some time today to shout out the dads all over the world, up in heaven, on earth, and the dads to be. Thank you for being top dogs and for loving us the way you do. Top dog of the week, K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. And that, folks, will lead us into our final step aside on Wake Up Call this morning. We'll be back right after this. Central New Yorkers, you can now enjoy the taste of Heritage Hill award-winning craft beers, seltzers, and a full bar at 3 locations. Spend your weekends at their beautiful location in Pompey with its amazing views, sunsets, family, and pet-friendly facilities, as well as extensive private event areas. Get their taps, tonics, and tastes in their brand new North Syracuse location at Sweetheart Corner in North Syracuse, New York. When flying in and out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport, make sure to visit their Palladino Farms location. At Heritage Hill, they believe in supporting our community and are excited to now meet you where you're at and where you're going with their local farm-raised tastes. Find out more information at heritagehillbrewery.com. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, is your sports card and collecting card in general shop. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You will find all that you need there, from hockey, basketball, baseball, football, AEW, All Sport, UFC, Disney Lorcana, Pokemon, and more, including all of the supplies that you need. They have boxes to put your cards in that you can buy. They have the cases that you can show, the showcases to put your cards in when you go out to a show and you're selling stuff. If you're coming to trade night at GG Cards and Breaks, they also have binders, one-touch cases, all different size top loaders for those thicker cards that you have that you get your jerseys with. You have the sleeves to put your cards in to protect them. Everything is right there. If you've never bought cards before, you can go in, get a pack, get a box, get a couple packs, couple boxes, buy the binder, buy the sleeves, buy the top loaders, and you're ready to go. GG Cards and Breaks, it reaches out to the kid spirit in all of us. That's why I love going there. Because when I was a little kid, my mom and my grandmother used to take me to get sports cards. And as an adult, I was like, man, we don't have a place for me now. And then all of a sudden, GG Cards and Breaks comes to fruition. And of all people to bring me there, my dad, on Father's Day last year. So this year, I brought him back. We bought a box. We opened it together. And he got to keep the Yankees. My dad's a Yankee fan. Collecting cards creates memories. Memories create friendships. Bonds over time. It's never just a sports card. It's a memory. It's never just a card game. It's a friendship. And after a while, you look around the room at all these cards and you can tell me a story about when you got them and how you got them. I tell people I can't remember what I ate for lunch sometimes. But every card I look at, I can tell you where I got it, where I think I got it, who I got it from. It'll evoke a memory, a person. And if that person's still alive, might make me want to turn around and call them. That's what cards do. That's what GG Cards and Breaks does so well. So it's time for you to go in there today. Open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5. You'll find them on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. With that being said, I want to thank everybody tuning in here inside of the Heritage Hill Studios to Wake Up Call, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Also, a big-time shout-out to all of you that find us on all of our outlets, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Podchaser.com, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, and you will find us on all of these outlets, and all you have to do is search, like I said, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And once you find us, click subscribe, click follow. It's free. And then every time I update, you will be able to continue to listen to our ever-growing archive library on all of these channels. A big-time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. Go out and visit Heritage Hill Brewhouse this Saturday, June 22nd. Chicken barbecue, live music, always the great views. Like I said, God's country, God's landscape, and hot air balloon rides. How about that? Heritage Hill Brewhouse, Heritage Hill North, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and Chick-fil-A Clay, Ma and Pa's, Pizza Man, Great Lakes, Honda City, and of course Mother's Cupboard. And you can find us in our exclusive partnerships with the Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find us with the Dolphins Wednesdays during Dolphin Time at 9 a.m. Eastern Time with AD and DT and the Dolphin Dive. Find all our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find our Lemoyne playlist. You'll also find the Dolphins on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab on the website. For more information, go to lemoynedolphins.com and Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month here in the Bobcat Buzz. And, of course, you could find Bryan and Stratton Syracuse in both campuses, Syracuse, New York on James Street, and out in Liverpool right off of Route 57 across the street from Avicoli's, so you know you'll be eating good. Find the Bobcats on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You'll also find the Bobcats on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find the Binghamton Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on Wake Up Call with monthly features entitled Moments with Marshall, featuring Binghamton University Athletics Director Gene Marshall, and the Bearcat Break Room with student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories. All of our Binghamton content is on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the Binghamton playlist on our YouTube channel. You also find the Bearcats on YouTube on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage underneath the exclusive partners tab. And, of course, you can find more information by going to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, big time thanks to Leo Rautins for joining the show. Shout out to his dogs and his family, and God bless to Cooper and getting some good news today and a healthy recovery. God bless Cooper, and may he heal completely and for good. And no matter what, may Cooper heal through God and handle well whatever comes his way. Same for Leo. Same for everybody involved. Thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Go and get the DT Dolphin my Sunday today. Get my sandwich, the Cuse McMother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich at Mother's Cupboard. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead. Top dog of the week, honoring dads all over the world. And that's coming from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call_DT. From the Heritage Hill Studios, have a beautiful and wonderful weekend. God bless. No stress. Do your best.